In my previous video, we talked a bit about the aliens of the sequel trilogy. Their varied design and creative appearances that are usually only seen for a second or two in the background and then forgotten about. Well, not me. I obsess over these guys. Because when it comes to Star Wars, pushing the boundaries on what can even be recognizably called a life form is something that the franchise prides itself on, and the sequel trilogy, in my opinion, does very well. No other film in the trilogy demonstrates this quite as well as The Last Jedi, which showcases a ton of new designs that are really only a flash in the pan. Pretty much all of these designs can be seen in Canto Bight, the flourishing, rich casino resort located in the planet Cantonica that is populated by a wide range of wealthy and sophisticated aliens and humans alike. Most of these colorful characters don't have a lot of information about them, so bear with me on the sparse details. But Canto Bight is simply one of my favorite non-human showcases in the saga. What can I say? I'm a sucker for fancy aliens in dresses and tuxedos. No matter what galaxy you're from, you can appreciate good fashion. So let's start with the first non-Abednito alien we see in the film, the tyrannical Baron Yato Atzman, from the planet Listahal. He was known for holding lavish parties in his yacht, the Undisputed Victor, sailing upon the Sea of Cantonica. During these parties, he often held weapons deals, one of which going horribly wrong when the dealer was assassinated for being too outspoken about his trade. Such is the way of the Canto Bight underworld during the Cold War. But back to him. He had a particularly brutal reputation on his home planet, which lies on the Hydean Way, one of the major hyperspace lanes in the galaxy, which is most likely one of the main drivers for his lavish wealth. We first spot him clinking glasses with Ubiala Gil, a wealthy nightclub owner in the city, whom he is also attempting to woo. Fun fact about Ubiala, she's played by Sema Tawi Smart, who played Arodia Ventifoli, the non-jarred singer in Dryden Voss's yacht, in Solo, A Star Wars Story. This guy's playing Zinzibble. I have no information on this little guy, but he's too interesting not to showcase. So there he is. Love his eyebrows. And he seems to be winning, so keep it up, dude. Now I do know just a bit about this guy. He's a Jakun. Look at him go. This is Tham. He's a Troflog from the planet Traflaga. It seems like they have a lot of Troflogs managing tables across the casino. We also see another of Tham's species manning the Zinzibble table, though Tham manages the Hazard Toss table in the back, and has a few choice words for the Bafopel, who slams his table after losing his game. Little aside about Bafupels, they're also featured in the game Star Wars Commander. A group known as the Bafupel Protectors fights alongside the rebellion during the Galactic Civil War. Love those little backwards connections. Anyway, moving on. Neeper's Panpick, probably one of my favorite background character names. He's a private detective who may or may not be on the case when we see him at the Zinzibble table in the casino during the film. Dobedin, Thobedin, and Wobedin, or Dodi, Thodi, and Wodi, are Sweartons from the planet Chanshoshi. They were known as the Lucky Three, and I don't think I need to explain why based on the name and location alone. Tereb Igmusk was a Katarian hotel concierge. The Katarian race also appears in Star Wars Resistance. The First Order spy, Teroj Ki, causes trouble on the Colossus when he tries to steal from Flix and Orca. This is the Butcher of Bricks. That's all I got. Though just by his name and appearance alone, he must be someone you definitely don't want to cross. This handsome devil is Snook Ukerfe. He looks like some kind of mole race of beings. And ladies, he's single. Those piercings on his snout and ears indicate that he is indeed unmarried. Alongside him at the table is one of the galaxy's most renowned liquor traders, Durla Pittis. Her most striking feature is definitely her choice in fashion. That white dress looks absolutely stunning, if not just a tad see-through. Oh yeah, speaking of seeing, she also has 4 big yellow eyes. Hot. One of Durla's patrons in the liquor trade were the Gramis sisters, Rombi and Parallella. Get it? Parallelogramus? Rombi? Okay, I'll stop. They claim to be from an alternate dimension, and can sometimes speak a seemingly unknown language. Jack Sanmi was a Zinzibble card counter in the casino. He grew up on a planet that was occupied by the Empire before their defeat led the Hutts to fill the power vacuum. He took a loan from the Nibanel accountant Mosep Benid to perfect his counting system, though was unable to repay that loan. Mosep Benid first appeared all the way back in the Cantina in A New Hope, before appearing again at Jabba's palace in Return of the Jedi. Seems he finally settled into a cushy job in Canto Bight. Good for him. This is Dobusque, the drunk casino patron who mistakes BB-8 for a slot machine. He's voiced by Mark Hamill, and while his species is unknown, the the Star Wars Kids YouTube video, Star Wars by the Numbers, tells us that he speaks Camorese. He's also named after Bob Dusque, editor of The Last Jedi. Defancio Sorsilt was a horse-headed alien who, rather ironically, owned almost all of the racing fathiers in Canto Bight, including the stallion High Steppin', his name spelled with an HY as a play on words from his father Hydean Dreams. Yeah, I'm not kidding. There's a surprising amount of information on this fathier, including his parents and jockey, his mother Solar Promenade, and jockey Hannah DeVault. And last but certainly not least when it comes to Canto Bight patrons, Alisandrex Delga Cantonica Provincion, Countess of Canto Bight. Though she may seem harmless, this purple balloon woman is absolutely ruthless. She ordered the hit on the arms dealer I mentioned earlier, who was killed on Yato Atzman's yacht. Now moving into the stables, we have Bargwell Tomberder, the Clodogran Groom, who was more like a slave driver, with his ill temper and tendency to use a whip instead of words. Now let's talk about a few beings that didn't make the cut, literally. They exist only in deleted scenes and promotional material for the film, but are very much important. This is the Palandag Canto Casino House Band. That's Dooz, Jot, and Hex, to be more precise. And they're all playing Fenonk horns. Lexo Sugar was a Dornamithian masseuse, who worked in the Zord's bathhouse and spa. He also reported to Alisandrex Delga Cantonica Provincion, for you see, he used to be an assassin. And occasionally the Countess needs a hit, and he's more than happy to put his old skills to use. Kedpin Showclop was a wormel from the planet Worma Lesser. He went an all-expense-paid trip to Canto Bight after being awarded Sales Being of the Year at his place of work, Vaportech, for which he'd worked for over a century. His trip is a disaster at every turn, though, and he ends up being embroiled with a Cascadag named Anglang Lehet in a plot to assassinate a corrupt CBPD officer, Brog. And if you want to know more about that story, it's available in the Canto Bight novel collection of short stories, from which I've gathered a lot of the information in this video. And finally, I would be remiss if I didn't mention one of my favorite new alien species introduced in the sequels. And yes, I'm not kidding. The Lanai. I mean, just look at these guys. I love every second they're on screen. Making some sort of ancient agreement with the Jedi of old, this species has been keeping up with the Jedi Temple since its founding countless generations before the saga. They have a propensity for tragic comedy and can party hard. The men in the community are called visitors, and the women caretakers. These fish-bird nuns live a peaceful, simple life on the islands of Ahch-To. Fun fact, originally The Rise of Skywalker was to feature a group of Lanai assassins on Kijimi, and I will forever curse the gods for not giving that to me. Stay tuned for part 3, where I'll cover The Rise of Skywalker, naturally.